All right, we are live on Dodgers Digest talking all about the Dodgers World Series championship. That's right, the Dodgers have won the World Series in 2025. They were favored to win it all at the beginning of the season, and they have now just done that, winning the World Series in 7 games against the Toronto Blue Jays, and one of the best baseball games we have ever seen, not just for us Dodger fans, but just in general. One of the greatest games ever. And, this was a stressful game to watch for sure as a Dodger fan because, obviously us that we root for the Dodgers all year round, this was not a fun game to watch, right? Because we almost lost this game, right? I mean, the Toronto Blue Jays had so many chances to win this World Series today. 8th inning, it was 4-2. Just so many moments. The Max Muncy home run, making it 4-3, and then, of course, Miguel Rojas hitting that huge home run in the top of the ninth to tie up the game, right? That was a huge moment, and then, the Blue Jays leaving the bases loaded, the throw from Rojas to home. Miguel Rojas was a big hero today for sure, one of the MVPs in Game 7, and then, of course, Will Smith getting the winning home run there, in extra innings, right? In the 11th inning, Will Smith hitting that home run. This game was just so many, different angles to talk about. Shohei Ohtani got the start, and didn't have the best starts, right? But it just seems so long ago, right? This game was on for almost 4 hours, right? The game started at 5 o'clock West Coast time, and it just wrapped up an hour ago. So just so many different angles and so much stuff to talk about, But yeah, I think the main point here is the Dodgers win the World Series. I think that's the main point out of all this. The Dodgers found a way to win, and they found a way to win in they did it, right? They actually were able to do it, and it's hard. I still can't believe they actually won the game, right? I still can't believe it because the Blue Jays had so many chances. They had 14 hits in this game. The Dodgers did have 11. But 14 hits today for the Blue Jays. The Dodgers had they had runners in scoring position almost every inning. The Toronto Blue Jays and the Dodgers had to find a way to get through it using all their starting pitchers today, right? I mean, you had Ohtani, Glasnow, Snell, and Yamamoto all pitching along with Wrobleski and Emmett Sheehan as well. So it was all hands on deck. Everybody contributed. And I really like what Dave Roberts said after the game, right? Dave Roberts saying that, he trusts everybody no matter what. And I think it kind of showed today, right? I mean, I think it showed how he kind of trusted all these different pitchers. Despite, some of them having struggles, it was reported that Tyler Glasnow had some arm discomfort going into today's game. And they still brought him out of the bullpen, right? And he pitched pretty solid. He did give up a run, but it was pretty solid for Tyler Glasnow. Basically, everybody that pitched today had some issues, right? Everybody had some issues. Everybody had to kind of work through issues. But Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who gets the MVP, I mean, come on. He just pitched yesterday, right? He just started Game 6 last night, and then he comes out of the bullpen in Game 7. I mean, it's legendary what Yoshinobu Yamamoto just did. It's not something that's done in modern baseball, right? Because, in modern baseball, we have these guys only pitching once a week. Their pitch counts are so limited. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto just threw 2 complete games in one playoff year, right? Throwing a complete game in the NLCS, throwing a complete game here in the World Series. That has not been done in decades. Somebody throwing multiple complete games in the playoffs. Just shows you how special Yamamoto's run was this season, and only his second season in Major League Baseball, right? It's only his second year since arriving from Japan, and he's already an established star. He's already a Dodger legend, winning the World Series in his first 2 years. Last year was a struggle for him, right? He missed 3 months all summer, and then he got healthy for the playoffs and was one of the key pitchers in that run last year. And then this year, of course, had a solid year. He was never injured. He was never on the injured list. This guy was healthy the entire season, and it showed here in the playoffs. He was 100%, and he was able to give the Dodgers a lot of innings here in the World Series, right? Basically pitched 2 complete games, right? He pitched 6 last night, 2 2/3 today. and pitched a complete game in game 2, right? So basically threw 2 complete games almost in the World Series. That's a lot of innings, a lot of pitches for Yamamoto, but he was able to get it done. His arm's going to fall off after this World Series, hopefully not. But I mean, he like I believe Will Smith said after the World Series, he's going to definitely need some time off now, right? I think for Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he is shut down for further notice. I really hope he doesn't pitch in the World Baseball Classic because I know he's going to want to, right? I know Shohei Ohtani and representing Japan and all that, but I really hope Yamamoto takes that off because I think we need him rested for opening day next year. But that's of course something that's going to be talked about in the offseason. Like we're going to be talking all about this all offseason long. Last year when the Dodgers won the World Series, we got a lot of new fans here on the channel, so we're expecting that again. But if you're seeing this for the first time, make sure to like the video and make sure to subscribe. Myself and Brad J, we're talking about Dodger baseball all year long, 365 days a year, even during Christmas, even during the holidays. We got something to talk about all the offseason. This year is going to be really interesting, right? Because the Dodgers, as we know, already rumored to go after Kyle Tucker, already rumored to go after Murakami from Japan, and they're also rumored to go after Bo Bichette, the guy that just hit the 3-run homer today for the Blue Jays, might be wearing a Dodger jersey next season because it looks like the Blue Jays don't want to pay him. So Dodgers are not going to be done spending. As long as there's no salary cap, as long as the rules allow it, the Dodgers are not going to stop, right? They are going to continue to sign players, already rumored to be going after more stars to try to go 3 in a row, try to go for the three-peat next year. And yeah, I mean, I think this is the, we got to celebrate for sure this championship because it was, it looked like for a little bit we weren't going to win, right? The Dodgers going down 3-2 to Toronto. We were pretty down last Wednesday, and now we are celebrating a World Series championship with this 5-4 win in 11 innings. Wanted to go to the comments here. What's up, Craig? Yeah, we got still champions, dynasty. Starting to look like a dynasty, right? 2 in a row now. 3 in the last 5 years if you count the bubble year championship. So yeah, 3 in the last 5 years for the Dodgers. Something that they, have not been able to say in their franchise history. So arguably, this is the greatest run ever that we're seeing in Dodger history, right? This is the greatest Dodger team ever. The greatest last few years in Dodger franchise history. We're getting a chance to live it. This is honestly pretty crazy, right? The Dodgers getting the championship again this year. Matthew, we did it. That's right. Also, we got Craig saying Yamamoto now in a class with Koufax or Hershiser. I kind of agree with that, Craig. I think Yamamoto is a pitcher now. If you look at what he did this season, he's gonna have like one of those historic. You're gonna say like 1988 or Hershiser, right? And then of course Sandy Koufax in the 60s. He had those runs as well. Yamamoto I think is now in the same sentence with those guys, Sandy Koufax and Orel Hershiser. When you're talking about Dodger legends, right? I really do. I know he's only pitched 2 years in Major League Baseball, but maybe it's too early to say he's a Hall of Fame pitcher, but I do think he is a Dodger legend, right? If we're just looking at what he's done with the Dodgers, he's definitely going to be up there with Sandy Koufax and Orel Hershiser as the 3 best pitchers in Dodger history, right? I mean, I know some people might say Clayton Kershaw's in there, but I would put Yamamoto, Sandy Koufax, and Orel Hershiser as the top 3 Dodger pitchers ever. Just with what Yamamoto did this year, right? 2 complete games coming out of the bullpen in Game 7. And what he did all season long. I mean, all season long, he was one of the best pitchers in baseball and was kind of the only consistent guy the Dodgers had. A guy that the Dodgers could go to at any time. He was always there. Dodger Zone saying, let's go. That's right. Also, we got Craig Kershaw, first bat Hall of Famer. There's no Kershaw going to retire after this season. So, yeah, that was the last time we saw Kershaw, today in uniform. And also last time we saw him pitch the other day coming out of the bullpen. So, yeah, he will be going to the Hall of Fame. But, yeah, Kershaw's Dodger career is now ended, right? His baseball career is over. KC saying Dodgers got it done in legendary fashion. Heroes everywhere. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely legendary, I think, KC, because it was so many moments in this game that if you were watching the game, they were just crazy, right? I mean, especially the last few innings, the 2 home runs. Miguel Rojas hitting that home run. Nobody saw that coming. Shohei Ohtani coming up next. You thought, okay, maybe Ohtani's going to get it done. And just that at bat from Rojas, right? He was taking pitches. There was a pitch before the 3-2 pitch. It was very close to being a strike. It took guts to take that pitch, and he did a great job not swinging at that pitch. It was kind of inside, and the next pitch he hits a home run, right? So I think he had a great bat there at the end, right? I think that's something that's not talked about enough. I don't believe the guys, John Smoltz and Joe Davis, talked about this enough. I think Rojas had a great bat leading up to the home run, right? And I think it was 7-8 pitches at a bat. And he was able to finally hit that home run on a good pitch to hit, right? It was a pitch that was left up. It was not a very good pitch there, left up there. I think that was the huge mistake, of course, by Jeff Hoffman, who was pitching there for the Toronto Blue Jays. A very big mistake there from Jeff Hoffman. And I just thought that when the Blue Jays blew the game there, which, they completely choked in this game, so many chances to score so many runs, bases loaded, not able to score, and just so many other opportunities that they had to really put the Dodgers away. In that 9th inning, they were just 2 outs away from winning the World Series, right? I mean, it was 4-3 at that point. They were 2 outs away from winning the World Series. And I think when you get that close to winning and you don't get the job done, it's just too much, right? I know the Blue Jays did load the bases after that and had their chance to win it there, right? Basically just needed a fly ball to win, and they couldn't do it, right? Think about it. They just needed a fly ball to win the game. That's all they needed, a fly ball to get it done, and they could not get the ball out of the infield, right? I mean, that's tough. I mean, I don't know how Toronto gets back up from this. I don't think this team is going to be able to recover from this loss anytime soon. It took so much for them to get here, and especially with the Bo Bichette situation, the guy is probably going to be heading to the Dodgers or the Yankees, a big money team, where of course he's going to pay less taxes and expect $250 to $300 million. I just don't know. Toronto is going to definitely take a step back, I think, with the loss of Bo Bichette. They did lock up Guerrero Jr. for 8 years, right? So that's big, but I think it's just not going to be the same for them moving forward, and it's going to be very hard for them to come back. And they had their chance to win the World Series. They had their shot. They didn't do it. The Dodgers took advantage. Bad pitching, bad mistakes, bad base running, bad at-bats in different situations, and the Dodgers took advantage of all of it. You think the Dodgers really they made the right plays at the right time to win, right? Rojas making that big throw. It was a tough play. They were even talking about on the broadcast how the ball kind of bounced and it kind of, he kind of fumbled the ball there and he was still able to recover and throw the ball home. That was a great play, a play that saved the World Series for the Dodgers, right? It was bases loaded. If he doesn't make that throw in time, the Blue Jays win the World Series in the 9th inning. So that was a big moment in this game. And I think when that happened, you kind of felt like the Dodgers were going to get this done because it was just so much momentum there. So much momentum that just went the Dodgers' way. We got Hollywood saying dynasty achievement. That's right. Dynasty on its way here for the Dodgers. 2 in a row now for the World Series. And this is definitely very exciting for sure. And then Craig saying Baca is making the game-saving catch as well. That was also a big play, smash into Kike Hernandez. That was kind of a wild play for sure. That was a game-saving play, a game-saving catch. But KC, Rojas goes out as a Dodger legend. I really think he is the main MVP tonight. I really do think so. I mean, he tied the game up. He made the defensive play, making that throw. I think he's a guy in the Game 7. I mean, this is the best game of his baseball career. Probably going to retire after this season as well. What a way to retire, right? What a way to end your career. A player that, of course, took a long time to make it to the major leagues. He was definitely a struggle for him to finally break through, breaking in it in his mid-20s, right? And he finally got a chance to play Major League Baseball. And he's done great here with the Dodgers the last couple years. And I do believe that was probably the end of his career. And I think it's the best way to go, right? I mean, hitting a tying home run and then making a defensive play like that in the ninth inning. So, yeah, just his best game for sure in his baseball career for Miguel Rojas. Craig saying, I haven't heard this much fireworks since July 4th. As we know, the entire city of LA and LA County and all across Southern California is going to be celebrating all night long. The Dodgers winning a Game 7, which makes it even more special, right? Because, I mean, you think about it, last year, the World Series was kind of a dud, right? The Dodgers won in 5. It wasn't that close, right? The Yankees played horrible. They had a lousy World Series, and the Dodgers really just kind of ran over them. But this is the first time in a very long time that the Dodgers actually won a back-and-forth World Series, right? 2020 was kind of like that in the bubble year, but, I mean, before that, maybe 1981, where the Dodgers lost the first 2 games against the Yankees, and then they went and won 4 in a row, right? That was kind of the last time we saw one of those really great World Series, because even 88, right? I mean, the Dodgers just ran over the A's. It wasn't even close, right? It was a 5-game series. It could have been 4. They just kind of ran right over that team. So the last time the Dodgers really won a great World Series was probably 1981, which was a great series, right? It was a very good series that year. The Yankees took a 2-0 lead, and then the Dodgers went back and won 4 in a row. So it's been a long time since we've seen a World Series like this that the Dodgers actually won, because 2017 against the Astros was a great series, the one where the Houston Astros, of course, cheated us of a World Series. The Astros won in 7 games, right? So that was, of course, 7, and then the Red Sox one wasn't that close. Red Sox were kind of favored in that one. So it's good to see the Dodgers win this type of World Series, right? A World Series that was very competitive, that was back and forth. It looked like the Dodgers were going to lose, going down 3-2, losing 2 out of 3 at Dodger Stadium. Come on, that was crazy, right? The Dodgers actually lost 2 out of 3 games at Dodger Stadium, which is not something anybody expected. I didn't expect it. I didn't think the Dodgers were going to lose 2 out of 3 at Dodger Stadium. I really thought they were going to clinch last Wednesday, right? I really thought this team was going to win in 5 and not take 7 games to win. So I think that was a big surprise. But at the end, it doesn't really matter if they win in 5 or 7. The important thing is that they won the World Series, right? I think it doesn't really matter how many games it takes. As long as you win the World Series, that's all that matters. We got Sean saying, I love you guys. Go Dodgers back to back. I love LA. We love it. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate you always tuning in. We also got Matthew. Rojas won this World Series 2025. Yeah, I think a lot of fans are going to agree with me here. Miguel Rojas is the big hero for the Game 7 of the World Series. A player that didn't even play the first 5 games. They put him in because of the struggles of some of the other guys here on the team. Especially, of course, Bacchus and Edmonds struggling. So they shuffled the lineup up, and they gave Rojas a chance to play the last couple games, and it really paid off, right? It was a great decision by the front office and Dave Roberts, whoever makes the decisions. Not too sure who makes those decisions, but the decision was the correct one to bring in Rojas, because at the end, he hits a home run. He makes the defensive plays that we need, and the Dodgers end up winning the World Series, right, because of those decisions. Again, saying they were truly a worthy rival. I mean, I don't know, that the Blue Jays did play a little bit above their heads here in this series. I do think it was a bit of a, they played a little bit above their head, right? I think the Blue Jays, we did not expect them to take the Dodgers 7 games. I think the Dodgers were supposed to get this done, like I said, in 4 or 5 games. So I do think even the Toronto Blue Jays, for them, it's an accomplishment to get this to 7 games, because I think they were a young team that had a couple stars, right? Guerrero Jr. had a really great playoffs. He hit almost 500, one of the best playoff performances in baseball history. Going to be hard to repeat that again. And outside of that, there were some other guys, of course, who were contributing as well. Who kind of got hot at the right time. Right, Varsho, and also Alejandro Kirk, and some of these guys. Bo Bichette, as we know, missed the whole playoffs and just played in the World Series, right? But, he ends up, of course, seeing the 3-0 homer. But I think everybody kind of played a little bit above their heads. That's kind of my opinion on that. Raiderman saying, wow, one spark ignited this turnaround, looking flat, nothing happening. Great game. Appreciate you, Mike and Brad J. Go Dodgers. Appreciate you, Raiderman, always tuning in here. We also got Jason, Dodgers winning 8, 4-3-1, pitching and defense. That's right. And then KC saying, Mike and Brad J, you guys are awesome. My friends, been a classic season. Yeah, appreciate you, KC, always tuning in. We always got the shows here coming. And yeah, we always like the fans here. Over 8,000 of you now have subscribed. So make sure to, usually after the World Series, this channel always blows up. So it's going to be really fun the next few weeks as the algorithm is just sending Dodgers, everywhere, right? Because that's what happens when the World Series championship happen. When there's a World Series like this and the Dodgers win, Dodgers content is what starts taking over YouTube, right? And that's obviously really great for us that has a Dodgers YouTube channel. We also got Raider Man finally got Springer back. Yeah, basically George Springer, one of the cheaters on the Houston Astros, ended up being part of one of the biggest choke jobs in sports history, right? I mean, this is one of the biggest chokes in baseball history that we just witnessed. The Toronto Blue Jays had a 3-2 lead going back home, and they found a way to lose both games. That's why I just think, I don't know how you bounce back from that. I don't know what you guys think, but I just don't know how the Blue Jays are able to get themselves back up after choking the way they did, especially today, 2 outs away from winning the World Series, and are unable to get it done. Game 6, second and third, nobody out in the ninth inning. I told you guys yesterday, they had a great shot to tie up the game and get this to extra innings, and if they did not win the World Series, that was going to be the big moment that they were going to look back on, because at that time, the Dodgers really had nothing left with Sasaki being taken out and them going to Glasnow. They had basically nothing left at that point, and it was a great time for the Blue Jays to come back, and they blew it, right? So I don't know. I think it's going to be very difficult for this team moving forward. I think it's going to be definitely a challenge. It's going to be a challenge to even keep Bo Bichette, right? I mean, we're going to be talking about it in the next few weeks. Bo Bichette is a Dodger. He's probably going to be coming here, right? I mean, the Dodgers want him. He probably wants to come to L.A., and the Dodgers are going to make room for him, right? Because there's obviously always room. The Dodgers will make room. They'll trade. They'll whatever, move players around to get Kyle Tucker and to get Bo Bichette and Murakami as well, right? Max Muncy this might have been his last game, right? He might be they might not exercise that option if they decide to go after Murakami. So I think that's something we're definitely going to be talking about the next few weeks, because the Dodgers, even though they've won back-to-back World Series, that they're not done spending money. They're going to try to get other players and try to make sure other teams don't get these star players. So already we were getting rumors from Bob Nightingale about Kyle Tucker before the World Series ended. He reported on it just like less than a week ago, right? So we already were getting some reports about Dodger rumors during the World Series, right? I mean, so that just shows you how much interest there is from the Dodgers organization. And there's already some rumors going on. The Dodgers are potentially, trying to get a player while the World Series is going on. So it just shows you how important this offseason is going to be. Just like last offseason, the Dodgers went out and made the team better. They got a brand new starting rotation because, as we know, last year they had no starting rotation, right? They basically had to go to the bullpen. Walker Buehler, Jack Flaherty were the two guys they had. They let those guys go, and they brought in a brand new rotation, which in the end paid off. They all pitched in Game 7, right? So they were the starters and the bullpen in Game 7. Everybody pitched today, right? All the guys that the Dodgers had as starters in this World Series, Ohtani, Glasnow, Snell, Yamamoto, all these guys stepped up in Game 7. They all contributed in the last game. That's something that I've never seen that. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that before in baseball history, but I don't believe that's ever happened. All the starters from the World Series end up pitching in the last game. I don't believe that's ever happened. So it just shows you how special this Game 7 was, because as we know, the bullpen for the Dodgers was really up against it this year around. They didn't have a good bullpen. It was inconsistent all year long. And how they make up for it? They went out and used some starters. And they had a guy pitch back-to-back days, right? So that's what they ended up doing to make up for it. So Yoshinobu Yamamoto, what a historic performance. I'm happy he got the MVP because his name will forever be in baseball history, regardless of what he does, which is going to be a long career for the Dodgers, right? I mean, we got this guy for 5 more years, and it's going to be a long, 7-year contract, right? So it's 5 more years with this guy, and it's definitely going to be super fun to see Yamamoto, get better every year. He's already a great pitcher, and he's only going to get better. We got Jason saying Will Smith, most consistent all year and just a beast behind the plate. Yeah, Will Smith also, he broke the record today for most innings catched in the World Series, right? Because of that 18-inning game, that kind of pushed him over the record there, a record that stood for almost 100 years. So yeah, what a warrior. Will Smith played every single game in this World Series, catched every game, and of course ends up getting the home run to win the World Series, right? The not the walk-off, but the game-winning home run in the 11th inning. Will Smith, I think, is the best catcher in baseball. That's why the Dodgers locked him up for that many, was it 10 years or whatever? They locked him up for so many years on that contract because, yeah, he is the best catcher in baseball, right? And there's no doubt about it. The Dodgers are lucky to have basically the best player at every position. That's why they're winning World Series every year, because they have the best. Basically, they have almost the best player at every position, and that could even get even better if they go out and get the guys that I'm talking about. But what else we got? Matthew, Will Smith over Kirk. Yeah, no doubt about it. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely Will Smith, the best catcher in baseball. Raider Man saying, didn't Bellinger have a better year than Tucker? He also wants to come back. Yeah, as we know, Kyle Tucker, I think, is the first option, but Cody Bellinger, former Dodger, is another player that I think the Dodgers are going to look at as well. And might even try to get both, right? Why not? Bellinger and Kyle Tucker on the Dodgers next year. So that would be super fun to see those guys. And yeah, I just think this offseason is going to be all about improving the offense and, of course, trying to improve the outfield that has some serious issues. Conforto is obviously gone. He will not be back. A player that was signed for 1 year and played the whole season and then was kind of erased come playoff time. He will not be back on the Dodgers next year. And also, Andy Baca has really struggled down the stretch, a player that the Dodgers might consider trading, right? I really think if the Dodgers are able to get some of the names that I'm mentioning here, I think Andy Baca is going to be traded, right? So I think that's something we're definitely going to be kind of breaking down as the weeks go along, right? I do think that's definitely another player that I think could be on his way out. And yeah, there's so much, of course, to look forward to here in this offseason. Because the Dodgers are going to probably make some changes. I do think, though, like I said, I think I said this a few days ago, but I don't think the Dodgers are going to make any changes when it comes to the pitching rotation, right? I think the guys that they use, especially these 4 names that I just mentioned, they're not going anywhere, right? I mean, these are going to be the guys again next season. Maybe the 5th starter is obviously maybe trying to get a free agent or see if Emmett Sheehan could be that guy. Obviously, River Ryan is another guy that eventually is going to come back as well. So there's also other names that I think the Dodgers are going to be looking at. But I think these 4 core starters are not going anywhere. Shohei Ohtani is 2nd year next year pitching. So hopefully he even gets more opportunities to pitch and pitches even better, right? Because obviously, remember this year, he was very limited throughout the year. They kind of ramped him up in the playoffs, but definitely a player that we're going to be looking forward to in the offseason, in the next upcoming season, is one of those star players again. But going back to this game, the Dodgers found a way to win. They also hit under 200 in the series. First time since 1918 that a team does that and wins the World Series. It just shows you how their offense never really got going. They really today had a somewhat good offensive day, but really the last couple days they really struggled offensively and were still able to win the World Series, which is honestly kind of crazy. The Blue Jays played the best they could. I really think this was the best the Blue Jays could do. I really think so. I think this is the best they could have done. I mean, for them, getting it to 7, they held the Dodgers down pretty well offensively. They pitched pretty solid, but it still wasn't good enough, right? It was not good enough for them. It wasn't good enough because they could not hit in the key situations where they needed to bring the runs home. They didn't do it, and that's why the Dodgers won the World Series, right? The Blue Jays basically shot themselves in the foot over and over again until the Dodgers took advantage and won the whole thing. That's how it is in baseball, right? When you don't get the runs home in key situations, it ends up really costing you in the end, especially when you're facing a great team like the Dodgers, right? I mean, the Dodgers are this Dodger team is one of the greatest baseball teams of all time. They have maybe the greatest baseball player ever in Shohei Ohtani, definitely the greatest baseball player in our generation. Up there, of course, with Babe Ruth, and none of us got a chance to see play, but Babe Ruth, Shohei Ohtani, those are that's the kind of player this guy is. So the Dodgers have him, and then they also have an all-star cast all around him. So it makes the Dodgers extremely hard to beat, even when they're not playing at their best, because the Dodgers did not play at their best in this World Series, and they still found a way to win, hitting under 200. No excuse for that, but they still win the World Series, right? I mean, that's kind of crazy if you look at that stat, hitting under 200 as a team and winning the World Series. So, the Dodgers find a way to win. They got it done. They're champions. They got veterans. They got future Hall of Famers. They got stars. We always talk about that. The stars obviously make the difference in the end. And the Blue Jays didn't have enough star power, right? They only have really one or two real stars, probably two real stars, and then the rest are all guys you've never heard of, right? So, I mean, that unfortunately, that's not going to get it done when you're facing a star power team like the Dodgers with all the experience, with all the energy, the winning energy, the championship experience. It showed up tonight, and we're very happy to see this team win and celebrate. And now the next question is, when is the parade? When is the Dodgers parade? If somebody knows, put it in the comments. I don't know if it's on Monday, but when is the Dodgers parade? I think that's what everybody wants to know around, Dodger fans everywhere around the world. And, of course, the Dodgers are going to be out there celebrating the team, and just going to be so fun the next week. As we know, whenever the Dodgers win the World Series, LA celebrates for days and days, which is obviously great to see. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to share this video. Of course, this video stays up here on the replay. We'll be talking with Brad in the next few days. Brad will be probably doing a video tomorrow, but we'll be covering this for days to come. And, of course, the rumors are going to come flying next week as free agency is going to start basically now, right? It starts right after the World Series. But as always, let's go Dodgers. Woo!